All right, Nick, let's talk about the Texas A&M Aggies. A lot of good stuff going on for the Aggies, and they've once again gotten even more good news in the recruiting game. I'm Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, Aggies, really good news in the recruiting game. I think there's a lot of great stuff going on with this program, but they've won another battle in the most important position on the football field. That's right, the quarterback position, a big time commitment for them. Let's get into the article, or the tweet rather, and we'll talk more about it on the other side. This, of course, from over on Twitter at Hayes Fawcett, the great Hayes Fawcett, all of the best recruiting news. Go give him a follow. But it says breaking 4-star QB Ilaman Kasuga. That's how I read it. That was pronounced. So I apologize if it's not correct. 2026 recruit has committed to Texas A&M. He tells me for @on the recruits. 6'1", 210-pound QB from Provo, Utah, chooses the Aggies over Southern Cal and Washington. He says they are building something special down at A&M. Very, very true. And I think he's the next building block in that line of what Mike Elko is doing. I think he's doing a lot of very good stuff down at Texas A&M, Nick. Curious what your thoughts on this latest commitment are. But before we get to you, Nick, A&M fans, in the comment section below, I think it's been a great season so far. I think there's been a lot of bright points all over the field. But let us know in the comments below, at the pretty much the midpoint of the season, who is your MVP of the season so far? And there's been a lot of great points on both sides of the ball, but let us know who is the MVP, who is someone that stands out to you on this team, and let us know in the comment section below. But nonetheless, Nick, what do you think about this latest commitment to the Aggies?
Look, I think you give some credit to Mike Elko, and deservedly so, but I think it goes back to one of the first big moves that Mike Elko made, and it's bringing in Colin Klein as the guy to be their offensive coordinator, former quarterback, of course, coming from Kansas State. And Klein already, he's got 2 big-time quarterback commits. We talked about Longstreet a little while ago. He's a huge commit for the 2025 class. He follows up now with Kasuga. Again, we're talking elite quarterback talent coming down to College Station. And we talk about it all the time on this channel. It sounds so, cliche, but college football these days is becoming very, very similar to the NFL. And we all know it. In the NFL, if you don't have elite quarterback play, you will not win. Point blank, period, right? Even if you think you have a good quarterback, if he doesn't play up to par, you're going to lose. That's just the reality. Now, the beautiful thing about college football is you don't have a salary cap. You're only restricted on the number of scholarships. So you just need to take multiple bites at the apple to try and get one good quarterback per class, usually, right? Because you got a guy come in, he'll be there for 2 to 3 years. So if you miss one every if you only get one good quarterback every 2 or 3 years, you'll be okay. But you can't afford to go weak there. You always have to be recruiting that position. Even if you think you've got a guy, look at the Texas Longhorns. I know Aggies fans, you guys are screaming at me. I'm even wearing burnt orange by some accidental mistake right now. I apologize for that. But the reality is Texas, they had Ewers. They were very aggressive in recruiting Arch Manning. Their future looks very bright. Elko, Colin Klein are following that same smart model. Wegman playing good football. They need to focus on the future as well. Long-term success is predicated on nailing down the quarterback position first. All the other positions will follow: offensive line, receivers, running backs, defensive side of the football. That follows after the quarterback. We saw it earlier with the 2025 commit in Longstreet. Now we have Kasuga 2026. Elko and Colin Klein are getting it done at the position where it matters most. And while A&M is off to a good start this year, Mike Elko looks like he's been a great hire. The reality is we've seen this before, right? Texas A&M fans, right? We've seen coaches come in and have one good year, in 9-10 games, something like that. But then the talent drops. There's a couple bad recruiting years. Some injuries happen one year, and they don't have an elite quarterback to carry them through it. Elko and Colin Klein so far are avoiding that pitfall. They're aggressively going after quarterbacks. And by the way, neither of these guys are in state. We're talking about Utah and California between Kasuga and Longstreet respectively. So again, they're not just focusing in Texas. They're going national at the quarterback level to find their guys. And I think it will result in a lot of success for them going forward.
Yeah, Nick, and that's something I like you brought up, where these guys are from, because I think that's important because it goes off something we talk about, I'd say, pretty much every recruiting video is where do you want to recruit, especially as a new coach. When you come in, you're restarting your recruiting program. You got to start locally, then you branch out what we'd say regionally, the teams around you, the Oklahomas, the places right around you in Texas. and then you break out nationally. You go all the way across the country to get the best guys. And Texas A&M has done it exactly right. You look at this 2025 class so far, like you said, Longstreet, a guy from California, but 15 of the 22 recruits in this 2025 class out of the state of Texas. Not too bad because Texas is a really big state. There's a lot of ground to cover. So it's a little bit easier for them to get a lot of guys out of the same state than some others. But nonetheless, 15 guys out of the state of Texas. Then he starts to branch out. 4 guys in California, a guy out of Alabama, Arizona, Florida. Then obviously the latest commitment from Kasuga out of Utah. I think this is a really smart strategy, and it just shows Mike Elko really, like, we say this sometimes about things, and it's kind of just like an offhanded comment. Elko's really come in and done everything exactly right. Brought in the right guys. He's recruited the right way. He's built this program really solid from the base up. I think he's doing some really impressive stuff so far, being the head man at A&M. It was a tough job to come in and take over after Jimbo Fisher. He wasn't really left in the best of circumstances. We talk about Fisher's recruiting style throughout all of our A&M videos. I know the fans know it. It wasn't something that was really desirable to come into. But I think Elko's reconnected with that base of Texas, done a really great job recruiting the right way. I think he's building something special and something that's going to last. They're going to be a mainstay in the SEC with the way that he's running the ship.